Looking for a dime. James Locke in the house, gonna help you shine.
Welcome to the Poole Locke YouTube channel. I'm James Locke, and today we're going to answer some of the Ask James questions of the day. We have a question from Jerry. He says, I understand that you can borrow against your 401k, but is that really a good idea? All right, Jerry, well, that's a good question, and I'm glad you sent it in. So the answer is, it depends, right? It really does. I mean, most of the time, borrowing against your 401k is not an ideal strategy, especially when investing for income in retirement. Now, it may sound appealing on the surface, but there are several drawbacks to consider carefully. For context, usually you can borrow up to half the balance of the 401k to a maximum of $50,000. So the supposed appeal is that you're paying interest, right? But you're paying that interest back to yourself into your own account. So on paper, it doesn't seem like it's costing you anything extra. However, there are multiple issues with this. Like when you approach this for investing for income. So firstly, those loan payments made with after-tax dollars come directly out of your take-home pay. So if you take a standard 5-year payback on $50,000, those payments are $1,000 per month. For many people, that significantly, tight cash flow can be challenging when, to manage on a month-to-month basis, especially when relying on portfolio income in retirement. Secondarily, the interest you pay back onto your account is not tax deductible. You're making payments with after-tax dollars, but then have to pay taxes again on that money when you withdraw it in retirement. So you're essentially being double taxed on that interest portion. But the biggest issue to consider is the opportunity cost and lost growth on your investments. So while the money is out of the market in the form of a loan, the loan itself is simply the asset, right? And therefore it's not actually invested. So over a typical 5-year loan period, the market tends to go up. So your real cost of taking that loan is whatever the gains your money would have achieved by remaining invested in the plan in those sub-accounts over that 5-year period, right? Now this lost opportunity for compound growth can severely hamper your ability to generate sustainable income from your portfolio in retirement. Even a 5 to 7% annual return missed out on during that 5-year loan window can make a significant dent in your nest egg's potential. So when investing for income, taking a 401k loan impairs the compounding and growth you need to maximize your portfolio's income generation. It essentially starves your money of critical growth for 5 years in exchange for, accessing those funds early. Now, there are some rare cases where it could make sense, such as taking a loan during an extended, market downturn to avoid locking in losses. However, those periods are impossible to predict reliably. So as a general rule, I recommend exploring absolutely every other option to access necessary capital before even considering a 401k loan. Other options, like a cash out, refinance on your home, personal loans, lines of credit, things like that, are typically better than raiding your retirement funds. So only if you've exhausted all other possibilities should you ever view a 401k loan as a lender of last resort, so to speak. And even then, carefully run the numbers on the opportunity costs to your income portfolio before deciding if it's worth it. So investing for income requires, maximizing long-term compounding as much as possible. Borrowing from your 401k works against that prime directive in most cases. All right, Jerry, hey, perfect. Thank you so much for that excellent question. And it merits a nuanced perspective, to be sure. I appreciate you helping us kind of explore this important retirement consideration. And if you have a question that you'd like to have answered, you can do so by emailing, just like Jerry did, to poolelock@poolelocke.com. Okay, our second question is from Jane. She writes, I heard about a 72T distribution. What are those? All right, Jane. Well, first of all, my first piece of advice is don't try this at home. Make sure you work with an accountant or a qualified financial advisor to help you properly set up and manage 72T distributions. These are complex retirement account withdrawal rules that require careful planning. So, what are 72T distributions? Basically, it's a section of the IRS tax code that creates an exception, allowing you to take withdrawals from your retirement accounts before age 59 and a half without the 10% early withdrawal penalty. However, there are some very specific rules you must follow. The key requirement is that you take withdrawals, as substantially equal periodic payments. So it's based on one of 3 IRS approved calculation methods. And this shows the IRS that you're treating the withdrawals as a stream of income rather than a one-off distribution. The 3 calculation methods are the amortization method, the annuity factor method, and the required minimum distribution method. Each produces a different annual payment amount, but whichever you choose, you must stick to that rigid formula. You cannot make any modification to the payment amounts for at least 5 years or until you reach age 59 and a half, whichever is longer. So if you start at age 52, you're locked into those payments for 7.5 years until 59 and a half. If you start at age 58, then you must take payments for the full 5 years. So this inflexibility is because the IRS wants to ensure you are legitimately using the distributions as an income stream, not just making a withdrawal. So any change or missed payments can subject you to penalties on all prior distributions plus interest. However, there is a little more flexibility than it may seem at first. When setting up the 72T plan, you can split your IRA into 2 separate IRAs using tax rules like trustee to trustee transfers, something like that. This allows you to calculate the payment amount you need for income on one IRA using one of the IRA formulas. You then leave the remaining money in the other IRA to continue growing tax deferred. So this split IRA approach provides more control. The income IRA is calculated for your needed 72T payment. The other IRA remains a tax deferred asset you can resume contributing to once 72 payments end. The 72T exception can be useful for those needing retirement income before age 59 and a half, such as early retirees or those impacted by job changes. However, the trade-off is locking in inflexible payment amounts for potentially many years. So while 72T distributions provide tax advantage income access, they require careful evaluation of your cash flow before initiating. An advisor, can model different payment scenarios to ensure it fits your overall retirement plan. So Jane, I cannot stress enough the importance of professional guidance when considering 72T distributions. The rules are complex with severe penalties for missteps. But when structured properly, they can be a valuable income tool for certain retirement situations. I hope this detailed overview provides the context you need. Let me know if you have any other questions. So thanks for both questions today. As always, if you'd like to send in your questions, you can do so by emailing them to poolelocke@poolelocke.com. If you like what you heard, like and subscribe to our channel. This is James Locke, your retirement income source. See you next time.
Money on my mind, looking for a dime. James Locke in the house, gonna help you shine. Retirement is near, don't you live in fear. Listen up, my friend, let me make it clear. Savings in the bank.